Happy Monday. It's the last Monday of the semester. I hope you guys are doing good. Sorry for the delay. Basically, my computer, how do I say this? I forgot to plug in my computer. And so, that was it. So, if you guys are here and you have questions today, please let me know. I know that it's the last week of classes. You may have some questions. If you have specific questions, keep in mind I will open Zoom here, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, and that'll be that. Let's see. What excitement. It's supposed to cool off here in Jacksonville this week. We'll see. We'll see. They've been saying it's going to cool off, but it hasn't yet. So let me think about what else I have for you. So our final exam is next Monday. The final is going to cover everything for the entire semester. It's going to have, it'll be basically the same format, more questions, longer time. So nothing new or different, just that. Trying to think. If you have a question, you can go ahead and drop that right over there in the comment box, and that would be fantastic. If you don't have any questions, I will keep thinking. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about titrations and limiting reactants. I are unit conversions. And due to some mild technical difficulties, I can't get my iPad to show up today. But one way we can think about unit conversions is making sure that everything cancels. So if your unit's on the top, the next unit that is the same needs to be on the bottom. That way they're on top and bottom of that dividing line, and you can cancel anything out that way. So the other things to kind of think about is to show your work. Make sure you answer any high and low point. Well, that really says in all problems. That's silly. But when we think about the final, it's important to know how to really think about this and how to spend your time wisely. If you don't know what to do, write down what it is and move on. Because you can go back and forth in the questions. And so this is going to give you more time than less time, right? So hopefully that will work out well for you. I can see a few more people popping in. If you guys have a question, you can go ahead and drop it in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll just kind of talk about how on earth you should study for a cumulative final. Hopefully, for every exam, you've made a study guide this far in the semester. Sorry, that little fur thing that went right here is the dog. You should hopefully have a study guide. A study guide is going to allow you to be able to quickly ascertain your notes. You want to work extra problems. You can go back and rework any of the chapter worksheets or anything else. So Jeremy asks, why are chem exams always so pressed for time? Well, so I think it's a couple of things with chemistry exams. Because it requires you to do math, which not always, but it requires you to think about different skills and apply those skills. That type of application of knowledge just leads to being pressed for time. I personally don't think there's anything bad about having an exam that takes you most of the time. I know that there are many people who don't necessarily think that way, but I don't think that that's necessarily bad. Now, it says that everyone you've been in is that way, and so that's, to be honest, pretty good. So I think, well, an in-person exam, I think part of what makes it pressed for time is that we spend a lot of time trying to remember things. Like you sit there, you read it, and you're like, I got to figure out what to do. For a open notes exam like we have here, I think one of the things that happens is we pretend that we don't have to study. I took some open note exams, and I remember on the first one I was like, I don't have to study. It's open notes. But the problem was that open notes meant that I had to study differently. Study guides. It may be that the type of knowledge that you need for chemistry is slightly different. I have heard that physics exams are equally pressed for time. but I don't actually know because it's been so long since I've taken a test in college. And most of my classes that I've taken after college were all in chemistry. So um, maybe it is just a chemistry thing. Hmm. I know that every class that I've taught and every class um, that I taught as a grad student has been the same, even when I wasn't the instructor. So we had things called TA. So you basically were an assistant to the faculty, and their exams were basically the same. I think maybe it's just, I think that chemistry has so many different parts that that's kind of one of those things to kind of think about. Yeah, I don't know why it's all chemistry exams, but I am going to inquire with my colleagues. Other questions? Or comments or thoughts? Um, let's see. Perfect. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell y'all. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't have a lot today. Um, so eventually we will pop into Zoom so that if you have a question. Oh, Jeremy, we are finishing with gas laws. So yesterday, there are 4 videos. They're not very long this week. So there's just the 4, and I find that most students have encountered gas laws before, either in intro or in high school chemistry. So I think this is a good topic to end with. But yes, we are going to do gas laws this week. Um, those videos went up not too late, but the links, if you can't find them, are in the announcement that I posted last night. Other questions, other thoughts, other ideas on how best to study for this semester? Do we feel like we need to study more, study less? Thoughts, issues, questions, concerns? So let's see. So other things for the final, as I kind of think about it. So one thing that you can kind of think about is the questions that I've asked you before will likely show up in different ways. It is not a recycle of material from the old exams. I know that that's always a popular question. Is it the same questions? But here's what I can tell you. Limiting reactants on the final. Titration on the final. Draw me some stuff on the final. Let's see. Those are like the hot topics that I definitely know. But there will be things that are quite similar to what we have already seen. But none of them will be the exact same question that we already saw. Any other questions this morning as you guys get ready for the last bit of the semester? Any thoughts? Any questions? So Jeremy asked, does Chem 2 cover what's left in the book? Kinetics, buffer solutions, stuff like that. I think so. I usually only teach Gen Chem 1, but Gen Chem 2 covers some portion of the rest of the semester, but I don't think they go in order. For some reason, I'm pretty sure that they don't do like 11 through whatever's at the end. I think they kind of reorder that in some way. The other thing is, I don't think they cover all of the chapters. Kind of like, so in Gen Chem 1, there are parts of the book that I was like, we're not going to do this. So there are very few of those in a lot of these sections, but there are some of those. So yes, you can always email the faculty to see if you could find a copy of their syllabus if you're curious. But I definitely know kinetics and buffers are going to be covered in Gen Chem too. It's exciting that you're going to take another chemistry course. I like it. I feel like there's something there's something else that I thought that we could discuss today, but I don't have a whole lot going on. So let's see. Ooh, so Jeremy asked, do you know anything about chemical engineering? I Now, what I know feels like a lot to me, but it's probably not. So I know that chemical engineering requires you to take, I think, through organic, but you may report back and be like, mm-mm. I do have a lot of friends who are chemical engineers. A lot of them work in the oil field, I think. So it's more, I'm trying to remember. So you have to go through organic too. And then I think it's engineering with a hint of chemistry, not necessarily chemistry with a hint of engineering. I know that the engineering department occasionally has open houses that'll talk about that. But I think that chemical engineering is a good avenue if the idea of being in a lab running experiments maybe doesn't appeal to you. I have had students switch to chemical engineering, switch out of chemical engineering. I think that both chemistry or chemical engineering are good decisions. I'll tell you the truth, there is always a job for a chemical engineer. At least that's my impression based on what my students tell me and the engineers that I know. So that is, I think that that would be a good thing. Otherwise, that's like the capacity of my knowledge about organic or about chemical engineering. So, but I think it's a good. I thought about being a chemical engineer when I was in school, and then I realized I liked being in the lab. So, any other questions this morning? Thoughts? Have a good one, Jeremy. It's good to see you virtually, of course. Any other questions today? Well, I'll give you just another second to see if you have any. Otherwise, I'm going to pop into the Zoom office hours where you can come in and ask any questions you like. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day today. Enjoy the sunshine today and all that. All right. Doesn't look like there are any other questions. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. And feel free to come into my Zoom office hours.